The Arms Deal Procurement Commission is in its third week of public hearings. And that's after a 4-month delay. So there's been quite a lot of interest to see what the public hearings would reveal and how they would be conducted. The Commission has also been surrounded by a lot of controversy since it was established by Jacob Zuma in 2011. There's been some key resignations. One of the commissioners resigned. Allegations that the chairperson of the Commission, Judge Willie Sariti, is trying to push a second agenda of sorts through the Commission. So lots and lots of interest in what these public hearings would actually be able to reveal. So far we've had evidence from the SANDF, mainly the Navy, and now we're into evidence from the Air Force. And these officials have come to speak about the use of the arms that we bought specifically and the rationale behind the purchases. Those are two of the Commission's terms of reference. We have to establish not only, whether there was any malfeasance or corruption in the arms purchases, but if we use them properly, if they were the right arms to be purchased by the SANDF and for the SANDF at the time. The Navy and the Air Force have pushed pretty much the same line, and that is that the arms that we bought are useful to the Navy and to the Air Force. In fact, they are so useful, the Navy and the Air Force wouldn't be able to fulfill its constitutional mandate to protect the Republic without these arms. Of course, we're a country at peace. We're not a country at war. We weren't a country at war when we bought these arms. It was one of the criticisms about the deal at the time was in 1999, our priorities were, socioeconomic mainly. We know now that we've spent nearly 70 billion rand on these arms. So what the SANDF is saying is that that's completely contrary to the truth. We still needed the arms even though we were at peace. We still needed the arms even though that wasn't the country's greatest priority at the time. That no Navy and no Air Force in the world can operate without what they call balance of arms. You have to have a certain amount of jets or a certain amount of boats to be able to properly police the airspace above your country and the waters around your country. There are two main answers to the question about why we prioritized the purchase of arms at that time, according to the SANDF. The one line is that the SANDF, or as it was known in the apartheid years, the SADF, always had, for example, frigates, which are these, warships. But when South Africa was going through apartheid, there were arms embargoes placed upon the country by the United Nations. So what happened over time is that these boats and these jets that we had eventually reached the end of their shelf life and that they had to be decommissioned by the Navy. So there are some experts on defense that have said, well, that line of thinking is actually quite correct. The Navy did actually have ships like this before. They were decommissioned and they needed to be replaced. However, a lot of the criticism about the arms deal is, did we get the right ships, the right submarines, the right jet fighters for the right amount of money? And a lot of people have said, no, that's not the case. The contracts were heavily inflated. Arms companies came here and sold us equipment that was way more than what we needed. So that doesn't really answer the nub of the question, which is what do we need them for now and what do we use them for now? So the question that remains is, are we ever going to get to the bottom of this? And can the Commission really uncover the truth? There are some problems at the Commission. Myself and my colleague reported last week on some of the issues around the classification of documents at the Commission, that we don't feel the entire process is being entirely transparent, that the public can't interrogate every document that is put before the Commission, even the declassified documents we're told we're not allowed to see. So that's one of the things that we're quite worried about. The first phase of the Commission is supposed to sort of come to a head around March next year. In between, we're supposed to see the likes of Trevor Manuel, former President Thabo Mbeki, former Defence Minister Thero Lekota, former Trade and Industry Minister Alec Erwin, who will deal with the offsets part of the deal, come in and testify. We're not near that process yet. Alec Erwin will be particularly interesting because he will deal with the Department of Trade and Industry side of things, which pertains to the offsets. Was one of the justifications for the arms deal was that, yes, it's very expensive and yes, it doesn't seem like we're going to get dividends from it now, but these arms companies will invest in the country and so many thousands of jobs will be created. There's a lot of evidence that suggests that that justification is completely incorrect and that those offsets didn't materialize. Andrew Feinstein will also tell you that across the world, offsets are renowned for being a vehicle for bribes and that they're actually not taken seriously as a justification for arms purchases anymore. All we really know at this stage is that it will be a very long process.